Have you ever paused to wonder why those you once trusted suddenly grow distant, why friends become adversaries, why the warmth of support turns cold without clear reason? Many call it coincidence, others call it change, but beneath these shifts lies a shadow, subtle and unseen. This shadow does not need force. It whispers, it bends perception, it manipulates thought. Its name is witchcraft. Not the theatrical images of cauldrons and rituals alone, but the deeper essence of a spirit that seeks one thing: to divide, to isolate, to weaken. When spoken aloud, the word witchcraft evokes symbols, ancient traditions, or mysterious ceremonies. But the true danger is not always in the visible. Its truest form is the art of division. Where unity once stood, it sows suspicion. Where trust was built, it plants doubt. Its craft is not thunderous, but quiet, like water dripping on stone until cracks appear. In human relationships, this unseen current moves like wine through a field. You cannot catch it with your hands, yet you can feel its effect as everything bends in its path. Think back to the friendships that ended not with betrayal but with a misunderstanding left unresolved. Families that fractured not by great events, but by the accumulation of small doubts, repeated silences, or unspoken fears. This is its hand. It does not seek to destroy with violence but to unravel with suggestion. A single seed planted in the mind can bloom into walls of mistrust thick enough to keep hearts apart. You may recognize its presence by the sudden distance of those who once loved you. You sense it before you see it, like a heaviness in the atmosphere. Words twist into weapons. Intentions are misread. Harmony begins to decay into discord. And yet, you cannot point to a reason. That is because the battle is not on the surface, it is happening beneath perception. The spirit thrives in confusion, for confusion is the soil in which division grows. The greater danger is not merely that it manipulates others, but that it recruits you into its game. You may respond with anger, lash out with defense, or withdraw into silence, feeding the very current that works against you. Thus, witchcraft does not need to win against you directly, it only needs to guide your reactions until you, unknowingly, participate in your own isolation. This is why awareness is a shield. To see clearly is to remember, the true enemy is not always the person in front of you, but the unseen hand pulling threads behind them. When you realize this, you stop fighting people, and begin to guard your own center. For explanations will never cure a poisoned perception, and arguments will not untangle an invisible manipulation. What is needed is clarity, stillness, and refusal to feed division with more division. Unity carries a vibration that is higher than separation. Harmony is stronger than discord. This is why the shadow fights so hard to tear people apart. And this is why the moment you choose connection over suspicion, clarity over confusion, you begin to weaken its hold. Because when you refuse to play its game, you step out of its arena. The unseen force loses power, and you regain yours. The workings of witchcraft are rarely loud, rarely obvious. It does not announce its arrival with thunder or reveal itself with warning. Instead, it weaves quietly into the fabric of human bonds, slipping between words, settling into spaces unseen. Its true strength is in its subtlety. Not in shouts, but in whispers. Not in explosions, but in shifts of perception so small they feel natural, until you look back and realize that what once was whole has been divided. A single thought planted in the wrong place can change everything. Someone you love begins to see you differently. Trust fades, replaced by suspicion. Warmth turns to cool distance. And though you search yourself, you cannot find the moment it began. That is the essence of the unseen. It works not with proof, but with suggestion. It does not break a bond with force, but with distortion. Consider the ancient wisdom of vibration. Everything in this universe resonates at a certain frequency. When witchcraft works, it does not simply manipulate thoughts, it lowers vibration. It shifts the resonance of relationships. Joy begins to feel heavy, laughter becomes scarce, and even silence grows hostile. This is why families crumble, why friendships turn to ashes without clear cause. It is the invisible lowering of frequency until unity can no longer survive. How often have you asked yourself, did I change? Did I do something wrong? And yet, deep within, you know the truth, you did nothing to spark this storm. The atmosphere itself has been altered. This is not coincidence. It is the way perception is reshaped by forces that thrive in secrecy. They twist lenses, and once the lens is twisted, every action is misinterpreted, every word distorted. What once was love becomes irritation. What once was closeness feels like rejection. The unseen hand shapes the way you are perceived, and in turn, shapes how you begin to perceive yourself. This is the hidden danger. Not only does witchcraft alter how others see you, it tempts you to bend yourself to fit that false image. When you begin to question your worth, when you start to act from insecurity instead of clarity, the work is complete. The spirit has not only turned others from you, it has turned you against yourself. Ancient teachers warned of this, that the greatest battle is not with the outer world, but with the inner mirror. The enemy outside is dangerous, but the enemy within is fatal. Relationships do not always fracture with confrontation. More often, they wither with silence, with invisible walls no one can see yet everyone can feel. Smiles vanish. Conversations become mechanical. A subtle heaviness lingers in the air where joy once bloomed. And as you look back, you cannot point to the moment it began. This is the perfection of its craft, concealing the hand so well that you doubt it even exists. But wisdom traditions across the world agree, perception shapes reality. When witchcraft manipulates perception, it manipulates behavior. To see clearly requires a higher awareness, to ask, not, what did this person do, but, what unseen influence is moving here? This is where the veil begins to lift. Because once you realize that some battles are not against flesh and blood but against energies that wish to use flesh and blood, you stop wasting energy fighting the wrong war. The key, then, is calmness. The more you react with confusion, the more you fuel the shadow. But when you remain steady, anchored in the center of your being, the grip weakens. Just as darkness cannot survive in the presence of light, so too manipulation cannot survive in the presence of clarity. And slowly, the fog lifts. Those around you begin to see you as you truly are, not the distorted image painted by whispers. When this shadow moves against you, it leaves signs, subtle at first, but undeniable once your eyes awaken. The first is the sudden shift in how others treat you. A friend who once walked beside you begins to pull away. Their words grow sharp though your heart remains the same. Their warmth fades into cold distance, and no matter how much love you extend, it is misread, dismissed, or ignored. You sense that something invisible has shifted, yet you cannot trace it to any cause. That is the mark of manipulation, to alter the field so that confusion reigns. Acts of kindness are overlooked. Words of encouragement are twisted. Even silence becomes suspect. This is the web of distortion. It thrives on misinterpretation. You begin to feel excluded, perhaps from circles that once welcomed you openly. Invitations dry up. Conversations grow guarded, as if an unseen wall has been raised between you and them. Do not mistake this as chance. It is the calculated work of a spirit that fears unity, for unity is strength. Its goal is to isolate, to surround you with silence so that doubt takes root in your heart. Sometimes this isolation comes with sudden conflict. Small issues erupt into storms. A word becomes a weapon. A glance becomes an accusation. Arguments appear where none are needed. And you step into rooms carrying tension you never created. It is not coincidence. It is the atmosphere charged by whispers unseen. In energy traditions, this is known as psychic interference, when the subtle field of thought and emotion is stirred by an external current. It cannot be seen, but it is felt in the heaviness of the room. And when this pressure builds, discouragement follows. You may begin to wonder, am I the problem? This is the final snare. For once you accept blame for distortions you did not cause, the spirit has succeeded. You carry guilt that is not yours, shame that was planted like a seed, and the weight of confusion becomes your own burden. But if you pause, you will see, the shifts happening around you are greater than your actions could explain. Something else is at work. Understand this: witchcraft resists progress. The moment you rise into new strength, opposition sharpens. Just as storms grow fiercest at the edge of the shore, resistance grows strongest at the edge of breakthrough. People may suddenly oppose you not for who you are, but for what you are becoming. Your light provokes shadows. The closer you are to destiny, the more intense the distractions become. Ancient sages knew this well: when resistance rises without reason, it is often a sign that your spirit is moving toward expansion. Do not see these signs as reasons to fear. See them as signals to awaken. The purpose of awareness is not to frighten but to free. Once you recognize the pattern, confusion dissolves. You no longer wonder why friends turned distant or why harmony soured into discord. You see the invisible hand for what it is, and by naming it, you strip it of power. For the unseen thrives in shadows, but shadows vanish when exposed to light. Awareness is liberation. Once you see, you cannot be deceived so easily. Once you are not deceived, you cannot be controlled. And once you are not controlled, the cycle of division begins to break. The only true way to withstand invisible attacks is to cultivate inner clarity. When your inner world is clouded, by fear, by doubt, by the endless churn of reaction, you become vulnerable to every whisper, every distortion. But when you stand centered, when your heart is steady and your mind clear, no outside influence can pull you into chaos. Clarity is like light: it does not fight the darkness, it simply shines, and the darkness dissolves. Most people live from reaction. They feel rejection and respond with anger. They are misunderstood and rush to defend themselves. They sense distance and either chase in desperation or withdraw in wounded silence. All of this feeds the very current designed to break them. Reaction gives power away. It says, "You can bend me. You can control me." But clarity is different. Clarity creates a sacred pause between what happens on the outside and how you respond on the inside. In that pause, you reclaim your freedom. Stillness is the first discipline. When confusion rises, stop. Do not rush to prove your innocence, do not waste your breath in explanations that will only sound like noise to distorted ears. Instead, hold your peace. Breathe. Let the storm pass through you without entering you. This silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the wisdom of sages who knew that the real battle is never with the person before you, but with the energy moving behind them. Consistency is the second shield. If witchcraft distorts perception, your greatest defense is to remain unchanging in truth. Continue to walk in integrity. Continue to act with kindness, even when it is misunderstood. Continue to embody your values, no matter how others missee you. In time, distortions fade and truth stands revealed. But if you let the fog of confusion reshape you, then the spirit has won twice, once by turning others against you, and once by turning you against yourself. And then there is the voice within. The danger of witchcraft is not only in external manipulation, it seeks to echo inside your own mind. It whispers, "You are alone. You are unwanted. You are unworthy." If you embrace these lies, you become your own prison. But if you root yourself in inner certainty, knowing that your value is eternal, not dependent on shifting opinions, then those whispers lose their power. You become unshakable. Across traditions, from Eastern meditation to Stoic practice, masters taught the same lesson: clarity is strength. It does not fight wildly. It does not shout in fear. It simply stands, firm and radiant. Like a mountain unmoved by storms, or like the calm eye of a hurricane. And in that stillness, the storm loses its power. The unseen may stir the air, but it cannot shake the one who sees clearly. Remember, confusion is the tool, division is the goal. But clarity is the cure. To stand in clarity is to stand in power. And once you anchor yourself in this awareness, you will find that no matter how much distortion surrounds you, it cannot change the truth of who you are. The fog lifts. The lies crumble. And the unseen loses its grip. The spirit of witchcraft thrives on manipulation, and its greatest weapon is convincing you that you are powerless before it. Yet the truth is simple, it can only influence what you allow. The moment you cultivate discipline, of mind, body, and spirit, you begin to dissolve its control. Just as a fragile flame flickers at the slightest wind, an undisciplined soul bends under pressure. But when you nurture your inner fire, steady and strong, no storm can snuff it out. The first discipline is refusing to be moved by every emotional tide. If your mood rises and falls with how others treat you, then you have given them authority over your destiny. Witchcraft feeds on this instability. It whispers lies, provokes suspicion, and waits for your reaction, whether anger, despair, or retaliation. Every reaction proves its influence. But when you remain unmoved, when you choose silence instead of quarrel, calmness instead of rage, you deny it the fuel it craves. You starve the very current that sought to divide. Discipline is not only self-control, it is also focus. To know your purpose is to build an anchor. When your eyes are fixed on the path before you, distractions lose their grip. Gossip, rejection, misunderstanding, these cannot derail you when you are aligned with your calling. The shadow's strategy is entanglement, to drain your energy with meaningless battles. But once you refuse to engage, once you continue forward, the net unravels. This discipline must extend beyond the mind into the body and the spirit. Care for your inner life with practices that elevate vibration, meditation, prayer, breathwork, energy cultivation, movement that strengthens rather than depletes. Feed your body with what brings clarity instead of fog. Train your mind to dwell on truth instead of lies. Every act of self-discipline becomes a declaration, I am not yours to control. I am already chosen, already steady, already whole. Guard your heart as well. The unseen longs to plant bitterness within you. It wants betrayal to harden into hate, rejection to sour into resentment, misunderstanding to ignite into rage. Because once darkness enters your heart, you become its ally. Discipline means choosing forgiveness, even when undeserved. Choosing compassion, even when it feels impossible. Choosing to let love outshine bitterness. This is not weakness. It is invincibility. It means that no matter how much shadow is cast upon you, none of it takes root within you. Consistency is the final key. Not once, not sometimes, but daily. The unseen does not rest, and neither should your vigilance. Each day you choose clarity over confusion, peace over reaction, love over bitterness, you are breaking the spell, strand by strand. In time, what was meant to bend you becomes proof that you cannot be broken. For the one who has mastered themselves cannot be mastered by anything else. In this steadiness lies your freedom. When your flame burns bright and unwavering, you no longer live at the mercy of others' perception. You walk in power, immune to manipulation, untouchable by whispers. And the unseen, realizing it cannot sway you, begins to lose its hold. When you understand how this shadow works and refuse to bow to its manipulation, a profound reversal begins to unfold. What was once sent to weaken you becomes the very tool that strengthens you. Opposition, though uncomfortable, sharpens your endurance. Rejection, though painful, deepens your resilience. Within every strike lies the seed of transformation. If you see only the wound, then the wound consumes you. But if you see the hidden lesson, then even the attack becomes a teacher. Every time someone turns away without reason, you are given the chance to expand patience. Every misunderstanding is an invitation to practice humility. Every season of isolation is a call to rediscover your inner source of worth. In this way, the shadow unintentionally becomes a sculptor, shaping you into something unshakable. Iron sharpens under friction, diamonds form under immense pressure, muscles grow only when they are tested by resistance. So too does your spirit. Without resistance, you would remain soft, fragile, untested. With resistance, you emerge tempered, radiant, untouchable. Here lies the hidden wisdom: darkness does not waste its energy on what does not matter. If the unseen targets you, it is because there is something within you that threatens it. Something valuable, powerful, destined. Your very struggle is proof of your significance. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this shaping within me?" Instead of sinking into despair, see rejection as redirection. Instead of trembling at betrayal, receive it as a lesson in discernment and trust. When you stop seeing yourself as a victim of unseen warfare and begin to see yourself as a student of the experience, you reclaim your authority. You are no longer bent by storms, you are strengthened by them. You no longer crumble at conflict, you are clarified by it. Each attack becomes another layer of resilience, another proof that your path is worthy. The very shadow that sought to silence you ends up amplifying your light. And as you grow through opposition, something even more remarkable happens. Your presence changes. Those around you will wonder how you remain standing, how you stay calm, how you shine despite storms designed to break you. They will not understand that the force meant to destroy you has instead carved out your inner strength. You have turned poison into medicine, obstacles into stepping stones, attacks into fuel. This is the ultimate reversal. What was meant to harm you has become the foundation of your unshakable resilience. The sting fades, the fear dissolves, because you now see the hidden truth: every obstacle is an opportunity in disguise. Once you embrace this vision, no spirit of division, no whisper of manipulation, no season of rejection can defeat you. Because every strike only feeds your rise. When you begin to see the hidden architecture of this struggle, life itself transforms. What once felt like chaos now reveals a pattern, a design that tests not to break you, but to reveal the strength already within you. The spirit of witchcraft thrives in secrecy, but the moment its hand is exposed, its grip weakens. And more than that, the moment you shift from resistance to awareness, you step into mastery. You realize that life is not about avoiding storms, but about learning how to walk calmly through them. Energy traditions across the East have long taught this: the battlefield is never outside of you, it is within. The unseen may stir the winds of perception, but only you decide how to hold your center. In Taoist teaching, water is the perfect image of resilience. It bends, it flows, it adapts, yet it never loses its essence. So too must you learn to flow without being carried away, to bend without breaking. Because flexibility, when rooted in clarity, becomes unshakable strength. The illusions around you are powerful, but they are still illusions. A friend turns distant, yet their heart is not the enemy. A colleague becomes hostile, yet their spirit is not your battlefield. Even when love cools and trust collapses, you must see deeper. Remember, the visible is but the surface, the invisible is the true current. If you anchor only in appearances, you will be tossed endlessly by waves. But when you root yourself in the unseen, truth, integrity, higher vibration, you cannot be moved. This is what it means to live in mastery. And there is more. Every season of resistance carries with it hidden gifts. Rejection sharpens your discernment of who truly walks with you. Isolation teaches you that your worth was never built upon approval. Misunderstanding deepens your patience and teaches you to stand in truth even when unseen. Each trial, painful though it feels, is also a polishing stone. In enduring, you shine brighter. In persisting, you grow stronger. Have you noticed that those who carry great light are often the ones who have endured great shadows? It is no accident. Light becomes radiant not in the absence of darkness, but because it has overcome darkness. Your battles are not punishments, they are initiations. Just as the ancients passed through fire, water, earth, and air to be tested, so too are you tested by rejection, division, and unseen resistance. And each time you rise, you step further into your true power. In time, this power begins to radiate. You no longer merely survive attacks, you transform them. Others look at you and see not a victim, but a presence. They sense stability when all else is chaos. They feel warmth in your company though they cannot explain why. What they are perceiving is your field, your vibration, strengthened and clarified through trials. It is the paradox of resilience. What was meant to break you has become the very thing that empowers you. There comes a moment when the unseen force that once terrified you begins to lose its sting. You look back and realize, every shadow it cast became a torch, every trap it set became a stepping stone. What once felt like a curse has become a form of initiation, ushering you into deeper wisdom. The spirit of witchcraft does not expect you to awaken, it expects you to remain trapped in confusion. But once you awaken, the game changes. You are no longer the hunted, you become the observer, untouchable because you see the pattern for what it is. Clarity, discipline, and resilience, these are not just defenses, they are alchemy. They transform poison into medicine. When you refuse to collapse into bitterness, your heart becomes a vessel of compassion. When you reject the whispers of unworthiness, your mind becomes a fountain of truth. When you hold your peace in storms, your spirit becomes an anchor for others who are still adrift. This is the secret, the battle was never just about you. The unseen feared what your awakening would release into the world. Because a soul that has passed through division and yet radiates unity is unstoppable. Its very presence disrupts the shadow. Across wisdom traditions, from the Upanishads of India to the teachings of the Desert Fathers, the same truth echoes: inner mastery is liberation. You are not defined by the shifting attitudes of others, but by the unchanging light within you. You are not a puppet pulled by invisible strings, but a sovereign being whose essence cannot be distorted. The spirit of witchcraft may attempt to bend perception, but it cannot alter truth. And when you stand in truth, perceptions eventually align themselves with reality. But understand this too: freedom is not passive. It is daily practice. You must return, again and again, to your center. You must choose silence over reaction, forgiveness over bitterness, consistency over distortion. These choices are not dramatic, they are subtle, steady, relentless. And that is precisely why they are powerful. Because the unseen does not fall in a single blow, it unravels when you starve it of energy day by day, until its grip weakens into nothing. And here lies the paradox: the very attacks that once sought to silence you become the proof of your purpose. Darkness wastes no time on the meaningless. If resistance rises against you, it is because your life carries weight. Your growth, your light, your presence, they matter. That is why you are opposed. That is why whispers are sent. But instead of weakening you, they mark you. They declare, you are walking a path that threatens the shadow. And that should not scare you, it should affirm you. So stand tall. Do not be afraid of the heaviness around you. It is only a test, only a mirror reflecting back the strength you are called to embody. Every storm that rises against you is secretly shaping you into the stormbreaker. Every rejection pushes you deeper into your own truth. Every misunderstanding invites you to be the clarity that others have lost. And as you embrace this role, the unseen can no longer control you. Instead, it becomes the fuel for your ascent. When you begin to live from this awareness, you stop fighting shadows and start embodying light. You no longer waste energy in endless explanations, nor drown in the grief of misunderstanding. Instead, you walk with a calm strength that unsettles the very force that sought to unsettle you. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. To be aligned with your higher self is to move in harmony with universal law, and no whisper of division can break that harmony. The spirit of witchcraft thrives on noise, arguments, accusations, inner turmoil. But when you become still, its noise finds no echo. In that silence, you hear something deeper, the voice of your own soul, the pulse of the eternal. That voice reminds you, you are not alone. You are connected to the same field of energy that holds the stars in place and guides the rivers to the sea. How could a whisper of distortion hold power over such vastness? The more you rest in this truth, the less grip any manipulation has on you. Ancient mystics often spoke of the armor of light. This was not metal or stone, but consciousness itself. Every thought of clarity, every act of forgiveness, every choice to stand in truth rather than react in fear, forges another layer of that armor. Soon, you find that the darts of distortion no longer pierce you. They fall harmlessly to the ground, for the energy within you is stronger than the energy against you. And something even greater occurs, your energy begins to shift environments. You walk into a room once charged with tension, and instead of absorbing it, you radiate calm that dissolves it. People sense peace when they are near you, even if they cannot explain why. They feel safe, steady, reminded of what truth feels like. This is the power of vibrational mastery. You are no longer shaped by atmospheres, you shape them. You become the one who restores harmony where discord once reigned. But do not forget, this strength is not given once and for all. It is a discipline of presence. Each day you must return to clarity, each day you must choose integrity, each day you must protect the sacred fire of your heart. The shadow does not rest, but neither does the light. And the more consistently you align, the more the unseen loses interest. For what is darkness to one who shines without fear? Ultimately, witchcraft's greatest deception is convincing you that you are a victim. But the moment you embrace your role as co-creator, as a being of divine authority, that deception collapses. You see the unseen not as an enemy to fear, but as a teacher to overcome. Its whispers reveal where you need clarity. Its resistance strengthens your determination. Its storms remind you of the calm you already carry. And slowly, you realize that you were never powerless. You were only learning how to remember your power. As this realization deepens, you come to see that what once felt like warfare is actually initiation. Each misunderstanding, each rejection, each season of isolation has been sculpting you into someone the unseen cannot manipulate. And as you rise, the story changes. You are no longer simply enduring life, you are shaping it. You are no longer merely defending against shadows, you are turning shadows into stepping stones, each one lifting you higher. This is the sacred reversal. What was meant to divide you, isolates only your ego but awakens your spirit. What was meant to weaken you, strengthens your soul. What was meant to silence you, refines your voice so it carries farther, truer, steadier. You see now that resistance is not a curse, it is confirmation. It proves that you carry light worth opposing. Darkness never wastes its arrows on emptiness. If you feel its pressure, it is because your presence threatens it. And that is the greatest sign of your value. From this vantage, you stop asking, why me? Instead, you ask, what is this teaching me? Every wound becomes wisdom, every trial becomes training, every attack becomes an anointing for deeper strength. Like iron sharpened through fire, like gold refined in the furnace, your character emerges radiant, unshakable. This is why the mystics of every age declared, the shadow is not your enemy, it is your teacher in disguise. It pushes you toward mastery by forcing you to remember who you truly are. And as you embody this truth, something profound shifts in your presence. People see you walking through storms and wonder how you remain untouched. They see rejection thrown your way and marvel that you respond with compassion. They see whispers surround you, yet your flame still burns bright. What they do not realize is that every attempt to break you has only carved out greater depth within you. You are no longer fragile, you are forged. You are no longer confused, you are clear. You are no longer shaken, you are steady. This is the ultimate liberation, to turn every obstacle into fuel for your rise. To see beyond manipulation, beyond division, beyond distortion, and to anchor yourself in truth so deeply that nothing can sway you. Witchcraft loses its power not because it stops working, but because you stop feeding it. You stop reacting. You stop doubting. You stop fearing. And in that refusal, you stand sovereign. Untouchable. Whole. So remember this, every whisper of division is only an invitation to clarity. Every attempt to weaken you is only a chance to strengthen. Every storm that rises is only a mirror calling forth your resilience. And when you embrace this, no unseen force, no manipulation, no rejection can defeat you. For everything thrown against you has already become the fuel for your ascension.